Hi, we're back today from Corona POS to talk about your cybersecurity. Smaller businesses generally have fewer resources at their disposal to protect themselves from malicious breaches. And since e-commerce is one of the biggest targets of scammers, protecting your website and knowing precisely how to prevent data breach should be a top priority. Data breaches often make the headlines for the huge amounts of personal information that they reveal. Big corporations like banks and healthcare companies have made massive payouts to victims of these breaches. As you would imagine, many of them spend considerable time and money developing IT departments that can combat such threats. Predictably, hackers and scammers have taken notice. Over the years, they've shifted their focus to increasing attacks on more vulnerable small businesses. In fact, more than 40% of cyber attacks are against small and medium-sized businesses. However, there are many steps you can take to make sure that you are keeping your business safe. Today, we'll review some of the more common methods of attack and then take a look at how businesses can best protect their e-commerce stores. Okay, let's start with a few types of cyber attacks on e-commerce businesses. Data pirates have come up with new and better ways of getting financial and other types of personal information from websites. First, malware. If someone who works in your company opens and downloads a wrong email, they can potentially download malware, short for malicious software, that can lead to serious consequences. Viruses are another big issue. If one of your employees runs the wrong application, they could potentially expose your system to a virus. These infections, such as Trojan horses and worms, can destroy your network from the inside, deleting and corrupting files and rendering your system unusable. Third, ransomware. This refers to essentially holding your private information ransom. Hackers will use malware to lock you out of your company's software and data. Then they'll likely follow up with an email message telling you that you must make a large Bitcoin transfer in order to open up your computer network back to you. There are now even bots to watch out for. Some data security firms estimate that so-called bad bots make up more than half of the activity on the internet. Bad bots can perform many functions for different attackers. Competitors can run scraping bots to scour your website's pricing in order to undercut your sales. Other bots will attempt logins and credit card transactions across multiple websites in order to find a way into your server. Hackers can also use a process called SQL injection. This sends altered structure query language into your domain, allowing the hacker to control certain operations, such as revealing and stealing data and bypassing authentication steps. Cross-site scripting attacks are another type of injection attack. In this case, the hacker finds a weak point in the web application and inserts malicious code. This type of attack targets the end user by exposing and hijacking their login data, impersonating them, and/or misdirecting them to other malicious websites. Another common method for these attackers is to run plugins on legitimate websites to essentially hijack your user experience. This can be presented as an advertised shopping item or pop-up window that takes you away from the original website once you click through. It can even present as a fake chatbot to lure unsuspecting guests away from your site. Finally, distributed denial of service or DDoS attacks are when your network gets inundated with coordinated untraceable requests that render your system inoperable. This disruption overwhelms your system, causing it to crash. The duration it takes to remedy the attack can cause a loss of sales, trust, and revenue for your business. Like any other aspect of a successful business, managing your e-commerce side of operations should be an ongoing process of optimization and improvement. Keeping your network safe from hackers is not a one-and-done situation. Your staff, IT department, and HR departments must be constantly updating and monitoring your website's security and keeping up to date against the latest threats and fraud schemes. Educate your staff about the risks and dangers associated with cyber attacks. Collaboration between human resources and IT departments, no matter how small your staff size is, will be crucial in keeping your business safe. Small steps such as instruction on strong and frequently changed passwords or information sessions about how to spot suspicious emails will help avoid getting hit with an internally inflicted attack. In addition, offboarding should be done professionally and securely. Ensure that potentially disgruntled individuals will not have access to sensitive information that can be used once they've left your organization. First, make sure that employees have secure remote access systems. Many companies have moved to what's known as a zero trust model. Since the pandemic initiated a move to remote work, businesses have employees spread out in many locations using different types of computers, tablets, and smartphones. As the world reopens, the remote work trend seems unlikely to change. In this cloud-based work environment, the IT firewall is not bound by physical space. Thus, a zero-trust architecture treats every login as a potential threat. It requires login credentials to verify every attempt and limits access based on a least privilege model, meaning employees can only access the absolute minimum level of clearance needed to perform their work duties. IBM has done extensive research into this and has determined that it's currently the most secure and proactive approach for the future of businesses with remote staff. You should also use antivirus software to constantly scan your system for outside threats. Make sure the software is updated regularly and able to perform the necessary level of monitoring that your business demands. There are plenty of options out there to shop around, such as Norton and WebRoot, to name a few. E-commerce stores should also use firewalls. This is a web application that filters incoming traffic to your website and blocks access to malicious hackers. The most effective firewall for an e-commerce site is a proxy firewall. This type of firewall generates its own IP address when connecting the internal and outside servers, thereby hiding the original IP address from potential bad actors. You also need to shore up the customer side of things. Verify your customer sign-ins to ensure that they are not being manipulated by password cracking bots. One of the most popular steps is CAPTCHA verification. By asking the user to identify a series of images, it ensures that there is an actual human trying to sign in. Another safety measure is multi-factor authentication. When your customer enters their login information, they'll receive a text message or email to ensure that it is in fact them trying to sign in. This message will contain a passcode that can be used by the customer to authenticate themselves. This extra process adds a strong extra layer of protection. But what about the transaction side of things? After all, this is where the shopper enters their personal information and it would seem is at their most vulnerable. It's important to start the process of protecting your payment portal by shopping around for reputable payment processors and platforms to make sure that they provide secure transactions. First, make sure that they're fully PCI compliant. Having a secure payment gateway is a must for any business that operates using credit card transactions. Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, or PCI DSS, requires certain software security steps to be followed in order to maintain compliance. Encrypted protocols for data transmission will also protect your valuable information from being hijacked. Instead of operating on HTTP protocol to transfer data over your network, your e-commerce site must also use HTTPS protocol. The latter provides more security in the process. After all, the S in the acronym literally stands for secure. HTTPS is a much safer version because it uses SSL/TLS certificates to encrypt data being transferred and to validate the users on each end. Using a reliable hosting platform will typically guarantee that your e-commerce site is operating using the HTTPS protocol. Finally, it's important to use a modern and secure POS system. State-of-the-art cloud-based POS systems like Corona POS come with all of the built-in measures you need to run a safe and secure e-commerce site. Corona POS integrates with WooCommerce to seamlessly merge your brick and mortar and e-commerce inventory and reporting. Plus, the integration uses safety, compliance, encryption, and tokenization techniques to ensure that each and every e-commerce transaction is guarded. Finally, storing your customer data on our cloud server reduces the risk of data breaches from in-house hardware systems. To get a demo of how this custom e-commerce solution works, click the link in the description. We'll walk you through our amazing e-commerce integration so you can see how easy it is to provide robust security to your site. You can even try it out for free. Thanks for watching today, and subscribe to our blogging channel for more e-commerce tips and tricks.